Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the SWAN Circulation Advisory Group meeting. Today is January 17th, and we're starting at 9:35. We are going to have a few things on the agenda today. My name is Crystal Villa. I am the chair for this group, and the co-chair here is...
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sam Deedle, the co-chair, just like Crystal said.
Okay. All right, let's get started. I am going to do a little bit of the roll call here. If you can go ahead, if you are SWAN staff, can you go ahead and introduce yourself? Let's start off with Tara.
Tara Wood, I'm the user experience manager. And I'll
Thanks.
pass it to Vicki.
Morning, everyone. I am Vicki Totten. I am a consultant with the IT and system support here in SWAN, and I'll pass off to Helen.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Helen Pinder. I am the resource sharing consultant for SWAN. And I think I might pass it back to Crystal. I don't see
Okay,
anybody
perfect.
else.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. We kind of already did some mic checks, but why don't we start with Pam?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Pam Kamen. I am the circulation manager at Glenside Public Library.
Thanks, Pam. Peggy?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Peggy Tomzik. I'm the head of library services at Eisenhower Public Library.
Thanks, Peggy. Let me see. Everyone keeps jumping around on my little screen here. Sandra, can you just say hi?
Hi, good morning. I'm from Alsip.
Thanks. Stephanie?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie, the circulation manager at the Batavia Public Library.
Thank you. I will note, Melanie from Carol Stream is going to be absent today. Let's see. Well, Victoria, can you just say hi to everybody?
Hi, I'm Victoria from the River Forest Public Library.
Thanks. And I'm not seeing Latricia or Parrish here. Okay, just note that. Okay, and I just wanted to note that these are circulation advisory group members, and some of them are newly elected. And we did have somebody leave the group. Emily Foster from Itasca has left Library Land and resigned from this group. So what we did was take the next person in the election, which was Tori. And Tori has agreed to join the group now. Tori, would you like to say hello and just introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tori, and I'm the head of circulation from the South Helen Public Library.
Great. Thanks, Tori. Welcome aboard. It was a good time to do this since this is our first meeting of 2024. And yeah, we welcome you and we're happy to get to work. So I am going to bring up the charge. I did notice a mistake on the one that was posted on the support site, so I will rectify that situation. Let me just bring up the new charge. Hold on one second here. Okay, so you should be seeing this SWAN Circ Advisory Group charge. Can someone confirm that?
I see it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Vicky. Okay, I just wanted to show everyone that this group does have a charge. We develop this every year. Sam and I will sit down and discuss some of the focus and what the goals might be throughout the year. And this might change just depending on if there's a big project we foresee and that comes about, and we might add that to the focus. We might switch this up. So it's not written in stone, but we do like to have something written kind of we can look back to make sure that we're hitting, we're staying on track, and making sure that we are keeping these larger themes and ideas in mind. So what this group is tasked to do is to kind of build, have consensus as building and leading constructive progress. We try to keep a consortia-wide perspective and prioritize that over our individual library procedures. We do like to keep the patron experience alive and guide those recommendations. And we like to see that we have cooperation between this advisory group that betters the consortia. So the focus this year, we will be looking at our training curriculum development and our courses and online development, as well as our best practices and some consolidation of policies when needed. So like I said, I'm the chair, that's here. Sam is also the co-chair, and these are our current groups, and we have 4 meetings a year. So this is our first meeting, and we will have another one in March, July, and then November. For the group members, I appreciate you all. Like to thank you all for joining and putting your name forward. I know it's not always an easy thing to do, and this is a 2-year commitment for everyone. So, you know, we appreciate the time and effort that you put in. Currently, if everyone kind of remembers, we from last November, which seems like a lifetime ago, we did some development of this best practices in the mural board, and we will continue to do that this year, and we will really kind of flush those out. We can get to that later in the meeting. I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that this existed, and for those of you that are new, this is kind of our guidepost for the year. Okay, I'm going to go back and share our agenda. Okay, I just wanted to, does anyone have any questions or would like to say anything about the charge or about anything so far? Okay.
Crystal?
Yeah, Peggy.
So is this charge, is this on the SWAN website anywhere?
It's going, yeah, it'll be attached with the agenda for today. I had to take it down. If you are seeing one there still, it's just an old version. I need to get it updated. I didn't have Emily removed from the members, and some of the members got wonky there, so I had to fix that. But yeah, I'll have this up by the end of this meeting.
Okay, just in case, like throughout the year, we want to refer
Yeah.
back to it and kind of, you know, have that touchstone. Okay,
Absolutely. And
thanks.
I will also have it, I put it in our SharePoint every year, so it will be there at the end of this meeting as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. I am going to hand off the next topic to Helen then, and I will be quiet.
Thanks, Crystal. Good morning, everybody. I just kind of wanted to put this on the agenda just to kind of put it out there in the Swaniverse, get you guys thinking about this. Some of you may know this, some may not. Every month I send out delinquency reports to over 30 non-SWAN libraries, just to let them know which of their patrons have items that have reached 42 days overdue. Just to kind of give them a heads up of what might be heading towards billing, so they're not surprised when they get that invoice, a little less than a year later. So far, only Naperville has reciprocated. A few of you in the South Central SWAN area might have been contacted by Jennifer at Naperville to let you know which of your patrons are delinquent on their system. But to date, it's only been Naperville who reciprocated until now. Chicago has just begun sending me a monthly report of our SWAN patrons, our SWAN member library patrons who are delinquent at Chicago Public. So far, that report has only had 2 people on it, so I didn't think that this was a huge something that I really needed to get out in front of. But I wanted to know what you guys thought, how I should deliver that information to you about your patrons so that you can block their accounts or contact them, or however you want to handle your patrons who have this delinquency at another library. I was thinking I would just forward the report that I received to the aliased emails that you all get. But I didn't want to make that decision in a vacuum. So give it some thought. Do you have any knee-jerk reactions? It's kind of a small group. I think we can unmute and just call it out, or you can drop it in the chat. What do y'all think? How would you like to receive that information?
And I will just say you don't have to be a member to talk about this. I want everyone to feel free to give Helen feedback.
Peggy says email. Yeah,
How-
just send it to the aliased email.
Yeah, how often is the report run?
It's monthly.
Monthly.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably email.
Just email. Okay. And then I can send it to everyone, even though most months I don't think you guys are going to have any patrons on it. So I think it's just going to be a monthly check and just to check, you know?
I'm sorry. This is Helen.
Yes. Hi,
Hey,
Tricia.
Helen, it's Tricia. So I think it would be the one email that you were talking about. We have one that I know now all of our reports go to, and only like our managers and supervisors have access to it. But I'm going to confirm, because it's Sandy, our assistant manager, that usually handles all of those report type things, and make sure that that's the way she wanted. Can I like email you after the meeting and copy her on it like that?
Sure. That's no
Okay.
problem.
Thank
And
you.
the email that I would forward to you all would probably have some language in there stating that not all libraries will have patrons, and then some suggestions for how to handle your patrons if they do appear, blocking them, contacting them, that sort of thing. And the good news is you can verify through the Chicago, their online verification portal. You can use your patrons' credentials to verify the status. So you don't have to call them to double check if they've cleared their situation up. You can check that yourself.
Hey, Helen, it's Vicky.
Hey, Vicky.
Will Chicago be kind of updating when those delinquent patrons have cleared in the following month, or no? It's just going to be who's
so far,
delinquent.
it's just the delinquency. I send them a report of who their patrons, which of their patrons have cleared their stuff. But this on their side, their reporting tool, and for the person who's been doing this, it's still very, very new to them. So
Sure.
I'm hoping to see some development, but for the moment, no, it's just they're letting us know when they're blocked, and then it's up to us to double check and re-verify. But it's nice that we can do that with their portal,
Right.
that we don't have to try to get a hold of somebody on the phone.
Helen, so let's say you receive this report this month and there's, John Doe on there. And so next month, if John Doe has been resolved, would he disappear from the list or would he appear still? Or would he appear next month if he's
That's a
still
good question.
delinquent?
I believe John Doe would drop off of that list, but I will verify the report logic with my CPL counterpart.
Okay. Thank
That's
you.
how the report that I send them works, so
Yeah.
they can see, that their John Doe has something 42 days. Now it's 74 days. Now it's 120 days, and so they can see that progression towards that invoice,
Okay.
which is why I'm getting less pushback on the invoices these days, which is
Oh,
nice
that's
for me.
beautiful. That's great. Yeah, I just wondered because then it might alleviate some of that manual checking. I know there isn't a lot right now, but that potentially could grow or
Mhm.
and just in case that does, that might be nice to know.
Yeah, I will follow up with his name's Alvin. I will follow up with Alvin.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
You did get a few emails in the chat, just so you know too.
Okay.
So it
Yeah,
seems
that's what I figured you guys would want. I don't like making assumptions.
Does anyone else have any questions for Helen about this process or anything else you want to ask her real quick while we have her? Everyone's so quiet.
I'm
Okay.
so popular.
No, I just want to say that I think in the last couple of years, Chicago's been really cooperative and things have
Yes.
been so positive. And I'm very grateful for that. So I think
Yes, and
this is really nice that they're doing this.
I'm glad to have that feedback from you, Peggy, because I know you guys are most impacted by our relationship, and that my sense is the same thing, that we've really started to work well together, and we've hit a stride with communication, and yeah, it's just we're in a good spot right now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And anytime, our staff, or I call over to a branch, they're always, I gotta say, like, it's been positive. So, it just it's nice working with them and things have been really I don't have any complaints, I guess, is the point.
Yeah, I've been nervous since Laura retired in July of last year. But the people who have stepped up to fill her very large shoes, they've just been rock stars, and they've just been so great to work with.
It's great. Thanks, Peggy. Thank you for your feedback. Anyone else have anything before we move on to our next agenda topic? Okay, Vicky, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Is it okay if I share my screen, Crystal?
Absolutely. Let me stop. It's all yours.
Alrighty. Okay, we all love talking about national change of address, NCOA, NCOA, whatever you call it, it is the National Change of Address. And we've been doing this yearly now and plan to continue to do it every year. And starting out here on the SWAN support site, just kind of going over to the news article that we posted. So looking at that, you can see that we finished all of the processing that we needed to do on January 2nd. So that means that any of the patrons who came back with new addresses from the process, from the procedure, they had their accounts updated to the address that came back to us, and then their old address was put in a note in the patron's record. And we did update the NCOA flag in the user category. That was user category 6, I believe. So this news article does have the link to our documentation for what to do with all of this information and how you can find out which of your patrons do have that tag in it. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this today is we did change our documentation. We changed it a little bit in here, but the biggest place that you will see the change is when you are looking at the Blue Cloud Analytics reports that show you what was updated in the patrons, who has that flag, I should say. And that you will find, so here's your recommendations to take care of things. And then when you go to the NCOA processing, it takes you out here to Blue Cloud Analytics. And I'm going to log in here. And what you'll see is we previously had each year's reports in different folders here. So you can see we started out at home. We went to shared reports, SWAN reports, the users reports, and then here's your NCOA processing reports. So rather than having different reports for each year, we've just updated this for any patron record that's still in the database that has that flag. So the different things that you have here, you have your counts. So if you wanted to look and see how many patrons still have that flag, I should say, you'll see that we still have a lot of patron records that go back to the 2021. We do recommend that if there's still no activity on that patron record and they haven't come in to use it, that you either remove those patron records or just contact us and we can remove them for you. So we just wanted to let you know about the updates to the National Change of Address and what the goal is for with this, I should say. So if we come back, I forgot to do open a new tab for it. And that was where I wanted to be. So a little too quick with the clicking of the mouse. So the other portion that we do is we have updated the geolocation and all the patron records. You do not see this in workflows, but you can, however, report on it in Blue Cloud Analytics. So getting that geolocation coordinates, and we do have those updated, as I said. That is one of the steps of National Change of Address. Dave is very busy at the end of the year taking care of this for everybody. He's a rock star. He's on vacation today, or he'd be talking about this too. So just a reminder that the recommendations for review are here. So if you want to just review this as you are just kind of looking at your patron records, if you have any questions, of course, you know what I'm going to say, you can just submit a ticket by emailing help@swanlibraries.net.
Vicky, I have one question.
Sure.
And the activity date for the patrons, does that include if they use database, only online databases?
It does.
Okay,
It's
good.
if they are doing anything in SWAN, if they check out, if they pay a bill, if they are billed, if the address is changed in SWAN. I don't know if you guys recall seeing a SWANcom at the end of the year, but when we were doing this processing, we did have to turn off temporarily the address updates to update the last activity date. So any changes in the address fields. We've since turned that back on. So that does continue to update the last activity date. And if they are, if they're doing any kind of patron verification through SIP2, so checking out ebooks, things like that, then that updates the last activity dates. And if it's anything with your databases and they're using Open Athens for verification, we are updating those on a monthly basis. We get a report of everyone who has access to anything through Open Athens. We're not able to do that automatically, but we do update that on a monthly basis.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. This is Pam from Glenside. Does barring a patron prevent them from using the online resources? Because I've run into the issue of patrons who were reported in previous NCOA reports that I did bar, but have a recent last activity date. So I'm guessing
That's a
it's
good
probably
question.
from e-resources.
It probably is from e-resources, or if they did have some bills that they've cleared up in the meantime, or checked out items that they've returned, that type of thing will also update their last activity date, and you might not see that in their record, but most likely it is the e-resources. So in that instance, if it's using Open Athens, it is not checking for a status at all. It's just verifying that this patron does have an account.
Okay.
If it is SIP2, so anything that if they're your computer scheduling software, or say your the ebook contents at whatever you may have at your library, then in that case, you would have to check with that vendor to see if you're checking the status. And a lot of libraries are not.
So is there a better way to block those patrons rather than just barring them? Should I?
I would say if they've completely moved out of Illinois, if you see here, if they've moved out of state, just have us remove those records.
Okay.
Open a ticket. That's definitely our suggestion.
Okay.
And you can also have us remove them if there's just, you saw that we still have a lot of patron records that have the NCOA 2021 there. So if you want us to, we can go ahead and remove those as well, regardless of where they're living. And just a reminder, I'm glad I remembered this. If you're updating the patron record, don't update the patron record if it is not your patron. Just because they've moved into your service area, they're not your patron if they do not have a library card at your library yet. Okay? And also don't change the library and the patron record to the library for the community where the patron has moved. They're still your patron. Okay?
Okay.
And our recommendation is always going to be, just rather than blocking them, just remove them. Then if they do try to use that old card, it's going to come up that it's not in the system and they'll have to reapply.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, everybody.
Does anyone have any questions for Vicky? Any other questions? Doesn't have to just be about NCOA. Okay. All right. We are going to move on. The next thing I want to talk about, I didn't get a chance to put it on the agenda, but I just wanted to remind everyone that and tell the newcomers that we have a mentorship program that we are running. And currently, quite a few of you have mentees. But if you are on the advisory group, you may be called to help out a new circulation manager or an existing circulation manager who just wants someone who they can bounce ideas off of or touch base with. This, while it would be encompassing some of the policy, procedure, and best practices that SWAN likes to see, there is also just a note of, there might be questions about, workflows in the smaller sense in terms of, scheduling, and how you process your bins, in terms of like, do you empty them out, put them on a cart, those kinds of things. Smaller, lowercase workflows, not the system. But I just wanted to kind of promote that, let you all know who are new that we do have this program going on. I will not throw somebody at you immediately, but it is definitely something that we are just, I wouldn't say launching. It's been, we've started it last year, but we are growing this. With that being said, some of you who are currently mentors have reached your midpoint mark, and I have reached out to you all as a small informal type of survey, just trying to get an idea, a better idea of how many times you have contacted your mentee, what you've discussed, things like that. So if you haven't already followed up with me, please do, so that I can write that down. After about a year, we will, sorry, excuse me, I'm tongue-tied today, apparently. We will evaluate the program and see if this is something that we want to continue, or if, it's kind of not been fulfilling for either the mentees or the mentors. So please feel free to email me, especially with any questions you might have. And if you do not have a mentee right now, that is completely fine. That just means we haven't had anybody ask for one lately. And we will try to get the best library that's suited. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. Like, we run reports and try to look at population size and things like that. And just the overall, the library in itself, the library overall, and try to match. So if you're a district, we'll try to make sure districts match up, because, some of those rules might be very different with a library that isn't a district. So we try to keep all that in mind. That being said, some barriers that we're running into is that we can't always look at size or population, then just because and match them up that way, just because some of we have larger libraries on Circ advisory, and that doesn't always mesh well with, we might be getting significantly smaller libraries asking for a mentor. So just keep that in mind. There is a thought process that goes into it and some work behind it. However, it's, not always a perfect science. So just wanted to let you all know how that's going. We do have in the SharePoint, if you're just curious, what libraries have asked for a mentor. We do have a spreadsheet in the SharePoint for the advisory group members. Please feel free to look at that. And I have gotten a little bit of some interesting feedback, and I just kind of wanted to talk that through. Currently, what will happen is a ticket will be sent in, and Vicky will grab that ticket and let Sam and I know about it. She'll run a report to see which libraries are close in size, and if we have somebody that doesn't already have a mentee and matches, then we'll match them up. So if we can't, we'll just go down the list and try to see who's the best fit. And then I will then go ahead and email the possible mentor and just, remind them of the guidelines, remind them of the, what we hope to do, kind of what they should be doing, that kind of stuff, and remind them of the circ manager's checklist, that thing that we made last year. And then I'll go, once they have confirmed that, yeah, they're ready for a mentee and they're excited for it, I will then pass along that mentee's information. And then I will reach out to the mentee and let them know this is the name of your mentor. They will be contacting you. I did get some feedback, however, that it might be better if I started the conversation with a joint email to both the mentee and mentor, introducing you all to each other and kind of getting the ball rolling. Now, that was initially how I was going to do this, but I will let you all know my reservation about it. I did not want to be too in the process and make this, where you feel like you can only talk about SWAN mandated things or SWAN policies or, just SWAN things. I also did not want to be, there's sometimes people just reply all, and then I'm included in conversations that maybe I am not supposed to be included in on. And so, or that, somebody just wanted to talk to their mentor about. So there's that. But I want to get the group's feedback. If you are a mentor, would that have been helpful? Do you think that's a small change that I can make moving forward, which is totally doable and completely fine with me. But I just, there's a fine line that I'm towing here between being like the organizer of it, but also I don't want to be too present in the interactions and make it feel like I'm the mentor, because that's not what we wanted in this process. So, what say you all?
Crystal, I guess I can give some feedback.
Mhm.
I guess I don't feel that it's necessary for you to like get involved in like making introductions, so to speak.
Okay.
I don't think that's necessary in my opinion, but I think I'm more interested in hearing, like, as a mentor, in that mentor-mentee relationship, what is the expectation? Is it more like to just advise the mentee on SWAN related issues, or does it spill over into just how to manage and getting into, like, is the expectation, if you're a mentor, to like get into extensive conversations about like personnel issues and things like that as well? Or should the focus be more SWAN related issues?
You're asking me, correct, Peggy?
Yes, like,
Okay.
like when a mentee is matched with a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
Are they expecting that we're going to advise them? Is the primary focus going to be on SWAN related issues, or is the mentee expecting that we're going to mentor them on all aspects of being a circulation manager, which may include difficulties with personnel or managing or scheduling or hiring? So like, what is your expectation for us, that we're going to mentor with a focus on SWAN, or an overarching focus on all aspects of being a circulation manager?
Well, I think for my expectation and what this group had originally laid out for this program, the idea was that you all would cover SWAN related things, best practices, some that we're going to go over, very soon. Some of the reports to look out for. What do you do with those? Those types of things. And then promote office hours, meetings, SWAN Expo, things that they can become more involved in, different ways to get their information. Now, when we get a person asking for a mentor, it's usually based off a question. It's initiated by a question that they might have about procedure, SWAN procedure. So like NCOA or billing or something like that. And then, they'll say something like, I'm new and, I have a question and this is my question. And then we kind of say, oh, okay. And, are you interested in meeting with a mentor, a circulation mentor? That's kind of how that conversation evolves. We do, while I think the conversations with some mentors and mentees have evolved into asking about things non-related to SWAN, like personnel issues or staffing or scheduling or policy. And that might be like attendance policy or something like that, something that does not have to do with SWAN at all, or our systems. It naturally evolves there for some people, and some are comfortable with that. That is not my expectation at all. The reason this was brought out was because, especially since COVID, we've had to, some people just, we had a lot of turnover and we just needed to bring the newer people into the fold and just kind of get them updated on, the things that they might want to subscribe to, our newsletter, our meetings. And while some have backgrounds in libraries, some don't. And so it might be a whole new world, so that was kind of the idea when we talked about this mentorship, when we created that manager's checklist last year and put it up on the support side and did all this. That was where this mentorship blossomed from, the idea behind that. And that was very much SWAN related. So, I mean, if you're asking what our expectation is, it's to keep it to the SWAN related portions. However, if you're comfortable with your mentee and, they have a question about, how do you do your bins, or how do you manage your staff, and you're comfortable talking about that, by all means. That doesn't mean that that's not something that you have to say, no, I can't because SWAN won't let me. Like that's not I wouldn't say that that's that those topics would be off limits if you were comfortable with them. Now, you don't have to share that with me when you're giving me your feedback. You can, like personal antidotes or anything like that. I have had people give me feedback so far that have just said, oh, they had like some about scheduling or scheduling about or personnel issues. No details. I don't need any of that. It's just, what are you covering? Or what are the needs that we're seeing? I'm trying to with this also identify if we might be falling short. So, for example, if everyone across the board has questions about something like no one knows how to pay a bill. None of these managers know how to charge a patron for a damaged item. Like that's an issue with training. Maybe that's a gap. How can we fill that? Those are the ideas I'm trying to gather from the feedback from the mentorship. And also we want to be mindful of everyone's time. If this isn't something that is, you know, good for everybody, then we don't need to continue it. But it is so far that those were our goals and what we had decided then. And I do try to send that out once you're signed up with a new mentor. And I think it is on our SharePoint, but I can just double check and make sure. But yeah, that's a very long-winded way of saying, the relationship can evolve how you want it to, but the idea is that you would kind of be promoting these best practices and just things that you've all learned through doing your job day to day.
Right. Okay, that's very, very helpful.
Mhm.
Because I can't tell you how many times over the years I've called somebody up and said, I don't remember how to do X. Can you remind me how to do this? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's always nice to have that person you can just call and they're not going to judge you
Yeah.
and remind you, like, oh, you have to do this or don't forget to do that or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I know Circ Advisory is very goal focused. We have things that we try to accomplish through the year, but I know a lot of people can bring things to you, Peggy, and to Victoria for Circ users. And this was kind of um like brought up on the cusp of something at Circ users where it's like people aren't so comfortable or people want to remain anonymous and ask these questions and they feel intimidated or can feel intimidated coming to the meetings and asking these questions that they feel like they should already know through, just osmosis, I suppose, or just being in the position, or they've been in the position for, a while and they just have no idea about this process or what's the best way of doing it. So, that can be intimidating. But if you had a mentor and, you have a kind of a safer place to ask a question that you might not feel comfortable bringing to a group.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Crystal.
Any other questions or feedback about the mentor program? Do you all want me to start with the initial email? I know Peggy just noted it doesn't feel that it's necessary. However, I do have, one other person saying it would be nice to just start that initial interaction, kind of ice, break the ice. Sandra, Stephanie, anybody want to speak to that? And even if you don't have a mentee right now, feel free to say.
I don't think it's anything wrong with just starting just one initial email like, hey, words, words, words. And then after that it's in whoever reads in everybody else's hands. So I kind of get where Peggy's coming from too. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with just put the initial email out and call it a day.
Sounds good, Parrish. Thanks and welcome. I didn't see you pop in. Thanks for hanging out today.
Because I forgot. And then
Oh.
I saw the calendar and I was like, oh, there's a meeting today. So,
Oh, welcome. Okay, anyone else?
I like either option. I mean, if you don't send out like a, where we're both on the email, as long as they know to expect an email from the mentor, that's fine. But whatever's easier, I get both points that you made for it, so.
Okay, thanks. Sandra, anyone else have an opinion either way? Feel strongly?
I wouldn't say that I feel strongly, but an introduction would be nice. I know it's a little awkward sometimes reaching out to people that don't know you and you don't know them. My main concern would be, because I know I've had issues with, not with my mentee, but with emailing other libraries. Sometimes it goes to their junk folder. And so I end up having to call them. So I don't know if that's a consideration, is just to make sure that both parties receive the email and have each other's contact information.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I could understand that being an issue, and not everyone wants to call initially because you never know when you're gonna get somebody at a bad point in their day. So that's good to know. Okay. I feel like there is enough consensus for me to start at this point when I'm assigning a mentor, to give that initial just, group email. Hey, so and so meet so and so. Here's your information. Have fun. I'll check back in with you both in 6 months, kind of thing. So, okay, I'll make a note to add that to our internal procedure as well.
I have a question. If we haven't heard from our mentee in a while, like we haven't heard since we reached out, like how do you want us, like, should we keep checking in? Should we just assume that everything's fine? Or maybe, like she said, it went to spam? Like, what are the steps you want us to do in terms of like continuing to reach out?
So what I would start this as is a phone call or an email. If they don't respond to that, I'd follow up with a phone call. Even if you're just leaving a message, hey, my name is Victoria, I'm from River Forest, I'm your mentor. I emailed you. Feel free to call me back or whatever. If they never make initial contact, ever, like they never follow back up with you, I would maybe reach out, just send like an email, like, hey, Circ Users is coming up. This is the name, this is the date and time, that kind of thing. So I would that would be a little bit of my guidepost. And this is just a suggestion. You all can take it or leave it. You can, invite them to Circ Advisory, but I would kind of give that as you're launching, opener. Like if you haven't heard from them, like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while, hope checking in, or if you've made initial contact and you guys have been, you talked once or whatever, now it's 2024, you have your Circ users meeting coming up in February, you guys, hey, just checking, touching base, want to reach out, let you know this meeting's coming up, you sign up on Zoom, you can register for everything all at once, easy, get it on your calendar so you don't miss out. And that's it. That's kind of where I would start that conversation. Make sense?
Yep.
So I had one comment. I actually started the conversation through email, but then offered a in-person visit as the first time to discuss information. feel that when you create a relationship with the mentee, it's easier to communicate any issues. And the person that, you know, I have, it's a little bit different because she's new to the library world. So there's a lot of information that she doesn't know that, you know, we as mentors, we gain throughout the years of experience. So it could be a little bit difficult to what to cover and what not to cover and what's, you know, what's to the point that it's overwhelming with all the information that I'm sharing. So what I did, between both of us, we splitted the documents that were given to us and basically spread it throughout the year. So at least we have certain topics that we're talking with each other every 3 to 4 months. So we did meet right before the holidays. So we are meeting towards the end of this month as our second time follow-up. So, you know, that's working well on my end. I'm not sure how the rest of the group is doing it, but I feel that in person makes the process a lot easier than just communicating through Zoom or through email or even a phone call.
Thanks, Sandra. I like that. So you've taken that kind of checklist and just divided it up.
Yes. So we
Okay.
started with the basic information on the top of the list. And we sort of group things together that made more sense.
Okay.
And we share like in-house procedures too. So that was something else that we discussed too, and see what possible changes she could make in the department.
Awesome. That's really cool. Okay. Okay. Thank you all for giving me your feedback. I am writing down some homework for myself, and I like your idea, Sandra. I think that that's a good starting spot, you know, with that checklist. It might evolve from there, but that's a good way to kind of think about it and divide it up. Okay, I sent. Okay, does anyone actually have anything before I stop the recording? Because we are going to move into our Miro board for the last 30 minutes that we have together. Okay, let me do this.
So, hi.